How about Survivor? You guys left in your Survivor pools?
I'm dead.
Are you dead?
Yeah, I took the Dolphins.
Did you die last week?
No, 2 weeks ago with the Dolphins, and it was, it was the right call. Everybody was on Green Bay, and Green Bay rolled over Cleveland, but it was right to fade them. The philosophy that I have, I don't know if you subscribe to the same philosophy. I think you said, maybe we talked about it, is that when you can go and look on the officefootballpools.com, and you can look at, if you go to picks and search picks, and you go to all picks, not scroll down to search, you go to all picks.
Scroll down to search.
Search picks, right? Instead of just your league, go to search all pools.
I gotcha.
You can get like a polling data on like what people are doing. So 68% are on the Titans this week. You cannot take the
And it
Titans.
tells you that, right?
That's
John?
what before you got here.
That's what we were talking about.
I can take the Titans, but everyone. There are 18 teams left. 16 of them haven't taken the Titans. Of course, those 16 teams are going to take the Titans.
So let's just do a little thought experiment.
Please do.
That will make sense, even just talking numbers on the air. But this will make sense. Let's say there are 100 people in your Survivor pool, and it was the Broncos against the Jaguars, 27-point line, and let's say that like 99 of the people had the Broncos. You knew that somehow you knew all of them were taking the Broncos, and you could only take the Jaguars or the Broncos. Those are your only two choices. Which team should you take? Well, think about it. If you take the Broncos, you have what everyone else has, so you just have a 1 in 100 chance to win, like you did before the week started. You all either lose or win. It doesn't matter. If you take the Jaguars, what are the Jaguars' odds to beat the Broncos? It's like 2 or 3%.
Right, but it's better than 1.
It's better than 1%. So you should actually take the Jaguars. Now, if you play that way, you will not last very long in your pool. But if your goal is to win the pool, you should play that way. Now, obviously, that's a very extreme example, but these examples are similar. You can do the math. If there are 100 people in your pool and 68 take the Titans and lose, there are 32 people left, right? So let's say you're all in, 100 people, $10 a pop. $1,000. It's 1,000 divided by 32. It's like $30. Your $10 entry now just tripled to $30. The equity that you have in your pool tripled because you avoided the Titans and they lost. If you take the Titans and they win, there's no way you can build up that kind of equity. So you need to look at not only the chance of the team advancing, but also the equity that you end up with. And it's just like poker, where it's not just how can I make this straight or this flush. It's how big is the pot, relative to my bet. It's pot odds. And when you combine those two factors, you actually have a better chance to win your Survivor pool, because every time that you've ever done well, or at least that I've ever done well, but I bet a lot of you guys feel the same way, is when, like, for some reason you didn't have that team left that got upset and half the pool dropped and you're like, oh, thank God I didn't have them left. I would have dropped too.
Right.
You can actually do that intentionally.
This was exactly our conversation, except it was shorter, and I think people would have understood what I was talking about. No, I got it, and that was good. And so I'm not surprised by that number at all with the Titans playing the Jaguars at home. Heather says there's no way the Titans could lose that game, but I think that's crazy. It's the Titans. It's not the Packers with Aaron Rodgers at home against the Jaguars. It's not the Broncos, who it seemed inconceivable that they would manage a way to lose that game. Look, it's Jake Locker, man. Of course he could lose that game.
There comes a point in time where it's just too cute, where it becomes too cute to not take.
No, I don't think this is cute. And I can't take the Colts. They're at 11.8% pick them, 11.7% on the Giants. I'm almost certain to take the Giants.
The Giants are not bad. I mean, you got to look at. You can go to the money lines. Go to a Vegas page, right? So here's the percent. So I actually write this in the column on RotoWire, by the way. So you don't have to look it up. I mean, you can look up last week's. I haven't written this week's. I'll write it tonight. But I basically put this table in, so you know who's taking what, and then I put in next to all the teams their Vegas money lines, and you could translate the Vegas money lines into a percentage to win, right? If a team's minus 500, plus 400, you take the middle 450, 1 in 450. It's like 1 out of 550. You do the math and you figure out their percent. And basically, you can say, okay, the Titans actually have a percent to win here. I mean, there's an actual number that Vegas puts on it. If you think they can't lose, you shouldn't be bothering with Survivor. Go to Vegas and put all your money on the Titans. If they can't possibly lose, you'll be fine. It doesn't matter. But obviously they can lose, and there's a real market for whether they can lose. And so
now, just real quick, there's no money line listed in some places because the Jaguars line is at 11.5 right now. But you can still figure it out. Like 9.5 is plus 340. So they're probably they're probably around plus 440 if you find a place that's going to offer it.
Okay, so
they're like an 82% chance.
So you would fade Tennessee in hopes that they lose, and then who is your next best option this week, though? Really?
Well,
the big lines are the Giants and the Colts at 9.5 over the Rams. I took the Colts, I think, in week 1. So.
Yeah, I would take the Colts second.
Yeah, I would take the Colts
Once you get down to 11%, whether someone's 11% taken or 3% taken, it doesn't matter. That's like negligible. But if there's a big team like the Titans, you always avoid, unless it's so ridiculously favored. But it's not. It's only a little bit better than the Giants or the Colts. And I would take, I'd probably just go in that order: Colts, Giants, somebody else, and then the Titans, depending. At some point you do take the Titans over like a 59% team, but anything that's 70% or above, I would probably take above the Titans.
And there's a good chance that if that happens, look, I don't think the Jaguars are going 0-16. I think they'll win a game at some point.
Who do you think they're going to beat?
I don't know. Somebody like the Titans.
Right.
I don't think they're going to beat the Titans, but I'm not going to be slack-jawed if they do beat the Titans.
Sure.
How about Tampa going into Seattle last? I mean, just let's go back in time a week.
That's true.
Okay?
That's true.
And talk about the Titans can't possibly lose to the Jaguars. Tampa had Seattle on the ropes. I mean, in Seattle.
In Seattle.
That
was crazy.
That's way crazier than this. That was a 95% game. That would have been one of the biggest upsets in NFL history.
I was trying to figure, was it Chris Carter? I don't remember who I was seeing who did a great dismissal of that game. No, it was Mike Wilbon. I think it was. And he was like, look, we've all seen this in sports. It's an 0-8 team coming into a place for the Seahawks who are focused on much bigger things. He was like, oh, don't even think. That happens all the time. You could have foreseen that coming, that the letdown was going to be so extreme. It went a little farther than people thought, that it had to go to overtime. He's like, I've seen it 1,000 times in sports. If this affects how you feel about the Seahawks, you're crazy. This is what they do. They play back-to-back bad teams. They took a deep breath in the Rams and Kellen Clemens, and then the Bucs, and they let down. And now they're actually probably fine. They may, in fact, be better for it, that they sort of gut-checked on defense against the Rams and managed to come back in the second half against the Buccaneers. But that said, it can happen. And the Jaguars do not want to go 0-16. You talk about have something to play for. The Jaguars, they definitely have something to play for. And they want to look competent. They don't want to be a laughingstock. So I'm done with the Titans. There's no way I'm taking the Titans this week. It doesn't make sense.
You're taking Indy.
No, I'm taking the Giants.
Oh, you're taking the Giants.
I can't take it. I would take it.
But just tell people that if you were just taking the Giants or Tennessee to win, and that was it, there was no pot odds. There was no. You would obviously take Tennessee.
Well, I'm not an idiot. Yeah, you take Tennessee. They're playing the Jaguars.
Right.